Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Chris. Before I get started, I would like to start off with a question. And the question is, how much longer can you stand me talking like that? The last presentation in the room, the last thing you need is someone to be like not into it, right? So this is a hard way to finish, right? You guys have been working it all day, training, educating. I can't tell you, I am fired up to give this information to you. It's 33 years, my life story, the mistakes I made, what I learned to help you succeed and make an impact in your local community. I can't start off before acknowledging Perform Better and what they're doing and what they've done. Okay, went there too quick. Can't start without acknowledging the team at Perform Better. All these guys on stage, everyone that's part of this organization presenting here and over the last 20 years, a big part of their success is because of Perform Better. I mean, what Chris has done, what this team has done to allow us to deliver education to you guys and what they do, pouring their heart and soul into helping you succeed. There's no other organization on the planet that does what this company does. They don't just sell equipment. They really impact people and change lives through their education, through their seminars, through their networking, through their socials. So I can't thank them enough. They've been amazing. We talk about change. Trying to change the slides. Change is inevitable, right? Change happens every single day, and it's happening all the time. How do you embrace change? Do you fear change? Or do you avoid change? Or do you truly embrace change? I'm here to tell you, you have to embrace change, because we're living in a world of change, and it's moving faster than ever before. So I created an acronym, network. Every letter stands for a lesson that you're going to learn here today. So the first lesson, your net worth, right? The greater your network, the greater you're going to grow your net worth. And I'm going to give you some strategies on how to grow your network through some storytelling that I'm going to provide you here today. I think this battery might be dead with this changer. Here we go. So talent alone is not going to do it. More training, the government's not going to save you, and social media is not going to save you, right? So that's not going to help you necessarily get to where you need to be from a business perspective. A network provides mentors, advice, access to resources, collaboration, and more clients and opportunities. So with that said, what are the secrets of Michael Jordan and Tom Brady? What are the secrets these guys have? I'm going to give everybody here a quick little test. I'm going to give you 2 guarantees. This test is going to take less than 3 seconds, and I guarantee you're not going to get injured during this test, right? But what I need is one guarantee back from all of you, and that is you're going to give me 100% all-out effort. Do I have that guarantee?
Yes.
Is this an English-speaking group back here? Yeah. Do I have that guarantee? Awesome. Here's what I want you to do. Real simple. I just want everyone to take your right hand and raise it as high as you possibly can. Awesome. Good, now keep it up there. Now what I want you to do, everybody has it as high as they possibly can, sit up a little more and get it a quarter of an inch higher. That's interesting. Put your hands down for a second. I thought I said I gave you 2 guarantees. You're not gonna get injured. It's gonna take less than 3 seconds. You're gonna give me 1 guarantee back. You're gonna give me 100% all-out effort. Let's take this test again with 100% all-out effort. Raise your right hand as high as you possibly can. Interesting. Now we got the idea. Awesome. Have a seat. Now you're starting to understand the difference. And we're going to take this one step further. I need a volunteer that's willing to do a little bit of a vertical jump.
I'll go.
What's your name?
Justin.
Justin, come on up. Justin, for being a volunteer, you're going to get one of my books, The Anatomy of Speed. All right? But what we're going to do, Justin, you're going to come right over to this wall. You're going to chalk up your hand. You're going to chalk up your hand.
Okay.
Right? Chalk it up really good. Your right hand. No, just like this. I just want this chalked up, right? Because we're going to vertical jump. You're going to face this way. Your right arm's going against the wall. You're going to vertical jump as high as you possibly can. and tap the wall. We got the chalk so we can mark the wall. We're doing a vertical jump test. We want to max out vertical jump. All right, Justin? Let's see what you got. It's vertical jump. Let me see what you got. Very nice. Very nice. Not bad. A little round of applause for Justin. We're not done, Justin. We're not done. Oh, wow. I need somebody taller. I need another chair. I have $50 here that we're going to tape to the wall. And if Justin can hit this $50,
Parisi, you're good.
it's his. So let's see. Okay, now I gotta get up there. So I'm gonna jump and like land over here. So I'm gonna do the, we have any 6'4" guys in the crowd? All right, that's a little bit higher, but let's go this. I got another 50 that we're gonna put a little bit higher. I lost my, well, let's get this one first. So Justin, what I want you to do, if you can get to the top of that 50, to the top of that 50. Now, let's get everybody up, come around here, and let's get him fired up. Chalk up, chalk up, chalk up. Now, Justin, if you go above the 50, you get 100, okay? Above the 50. Now, you can't step and go. I want the same technique. Hey, get him fired up. Let's go. Let's go, Justin. Let's go. Explode. Explode. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, all right. He grabbed it down. They grabbed it down. Good job. Hey, we just improved vertical jump just about almost 2.5 to 3 inches in 1 minute, right? How did we do that? There's a motivation. If you have a big enough why, you'll figure out how. Like most people walk through life, they don't know their why. And most people don't clarify their why. They don't create a clear vision of what they want. So I just said, we did a, get your hand as high as you can test. No one really had a big reason to do it. If I threw up a couple $100, everybody, we're gonna do it, right? But we go through our lives, our athletes go through our lives. They're not clear on what they want. So what do those guys have up there? They're really clear on what they want. Really clear. Have a big enough why, you'll figure out how. Justin?
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, 50, you didn't make it above the other one. Good job. All right. Now, what did I do? I got you up. I got you involved, right? You want to grow your network. You want to get out there. You want to engage people. You got to get them involved in the activity, right? You got to get them connected. Huge to make sure people have a rememberable experience when they're talking with you, right? What are you doing that's going to make that experience memorable? And there's lots of different things you can do. I want you to take and steal everything I'm giving you here today. So get people involved. Get excited about what you're doing every single day. We all have a story. I'm gonna tell you my story, and I'm gonna give you my life lessons through my personal story, how I started. I started out as an undersized high school slow football player. I wasn't that fast. I played lineman and linebacker, right? Offensive line and linebacker. Coach said, go out for track to get faster. I went out for track. My coach had us try all the events. I was pretty good at the javelin. By senior year, I was a top 10 thrower in the US. And I made the junior Olympic qualifying meet. So I came to Elmhurst, Illinois. How far is Elmhurst from here?
20 minutes.
Right there. You see in the program down there, you can see East Field, York High School, Elmhurst, Illinois, 1985. You taking a picture of that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. A lot of my clients go there.
There you go. 1985, I come out here. I'd never been on an airplane before in my life. My parents don't come because we don't have enough money to get my school paid for me to get here. And I was excited because the top 2 place finishers are gonna make the US Junior Olympic team. And all I wanted was that red, white, and blue USA sweatsuit. That's all I wanted. I was so excited. I was so fired up. And they were going to Tokyo, Japan that year to compete in the Junior Olympics. So I'm in the meet, I'm competing. My coach was there. I'm so fired up. I'm in second place. I'm like fired up. There's one thrower, one throw left. I'm in second place. I'm hugging my coach. The last thrower had an off day. I'm thinking I'm going to be on this team. And on the last thrower of the meet, I get beat by 2 inches. I was devastated. It was the biggest setback of my life. I went into a state of depression. But then I found a mentor, and my biggest setback set me up for my biggest comeback that started almost 40 years ago. And I have not let up. And a couple weeks after that meet, I started on a quest to learn everything I can about human performance. Where did that take me? That took me literally around the world. So the next lesson is become extremely knowledgeable within a specific niche in this industry. My quest was how to throw the javelin real far, but I got lucky because to throw the javelin really far, you got to have a lot of athleticism, especially to a point where to be successful. That was my sophomore year, my first mentor. At University of Oregon, my first All-American year, I worked myself up into a full scholarship. I don't say that to impress you, but to impress upon you, I didn't even know what a javelin was when I was a freshman. I'm from northern New Jersey. Yeah, I didn't know much about javelin, but I got hooked on it. He was a mentor. You got to find a mentor. You got to find something you're passionate about, and then you got to attack. You got to own it. I owned it. Owned it to a point where I went to Iona College in New Rochelle. I wanted to major in phys ed. They didn't have the phys ed. I majored in finance. I went to Iona because of that guy, because he was the head track coach and he was a throws coach. He produced All-American shot putters and javelin throws. I went there just because of him. I never even visited the school, and I made my decision in June. The switch went off when I lost that meet. It went off. So your biggest setback is your opportunity for a comeback, your opportunity to attack. Go on the attack. I'm on the attack. So I go there, and he has contacts and relationships. I go to Finland. Why do I go to Finland that summer, 1989? To hang out and learn from that guy. That guy won the gold medal in the javelin from Finland, Tapios Koros, in 1988. This is 1989. I traveled to Finland, no cell phone, no technology to help me. I get on a plane by myself, and I travel thousands of miles to live with a family for a summer to hang out with the greatest throwers in the world, because the greatest throwers are Finns. It's like you got to be on this quest, right? And you have to have focus, and you have to be obsessed. If you want to be great at something, and you want to really make a difference, you want to build long-term success, you want to grow your network, you want to stand out, you got to get obsessed. I became obsessed, and I am obsessed, where I get locked into something. So that guy, most world-class javelin throwers are 6'5", 6'6", Norwegians, Finns, Swedes. I'm a 5'10" North Jersey Italian. I'm not supposed to throw the javelin far. I'm supposed to make pizza. I'm supposed to lay brick. I'm supposed to be in the garbage business or collect high-interest loans for cash, right? The guys from North Jersey, the guys from the Northeast know that joke. I got a little confused faces here. The focus, the point is here, guys, is that I wasn't supposed to be good at this, but then by accident, I realized becoming really good at the javelin throw helped my overall athleticism. And there was one thing I learned in Finland that I was amazed with, that I went crazy and became even more obsessed, was something that a medicine ball. When I went to Finland, I learned about the medicine ball. This is 1989. And I learned that I had to do 10,000 medicine ball throws in the winter That's 600 to 800 reps a week for 14 weeks. I became obsessed with throwing medicine balls. Now, I had no idea I was training the fascia system back then, but it was all fascia. I didn't know I was training the fascia system until about 10 years ago. So you see how this has come full circle, like for me? So this medicine ball changed my life. Now, let me explain why it changed my life. So now, I'm a sophomore in college. I just got back from Finland. I'm 19 years old, and I'm going to strength and conditioning seminars, just like this, as a 19-year-old All-American javelin thrower. And there was a seminar in northern New Jersey put together by the head strength coach of the New York Giants, Johnny Parker, the man on your left. He brought in this man on the right, Angel Spazov, the head Bulgarian Olympic lifting coach, who won all the gold medals in the Olympic lifts back in the 80s, probably because they knew how to use drugs better than anybody else, right? So they won all the medals, and they have this seminar. I go, I sit in the front row, and I'm asking questions. I'm 19. There's strength and conditioning coaches there. So at lunch, I say, can I go to lunch with you guys? They were like, all right, Johnny and Angel. So I go to lunch, we start talking. I'm asking them questions. They say, tell us a little bit about yourself. I said, yeah, I'm a javelin thrower, just came off an All-American season. I just got back from Finland a couple months ago, had some great training, learned a lot about the medicine ball and doing 10,000 throws a winter. So that guy right there is from Mississippi, deep accent. Looks at me and says, Bill, I've been listening to you for the last 25 minutes, and I'm impressed with what you've done. I want you to come down to Giant Stadium, and I want you to train Phil Simms. Phil Simms just won the Super Bowl MVP 2 years earlier. Phil Simms was my first client. I was 19. Back then, there was no payment of athletes. Phil gave me 12 New York Giants Washington Redskin tickets as a thank you for training him. If I don't go to that seminar, if I don't go to Finland, if I don't get obsessed, if I don't ask, can I go to lunch with you guys, I don't meet Phil Simms, and that a lot of my stuff doesn't happen. And it just keeps building and building and building. After that event, I go on, I have another All-American season. Senior year, I'm competing with this guy, and he's beating me, right? He was beating me just by a few feet. But now he's beating me by 10 or 15 feet. He wins the NCAA championships. He's competing for the University of Florida Gators. His name is Tom Puskas, the American Spear King. He was my fierce competitor, almost like an enemy. At the NC2A championships, my senior year in Durham, North Carolina, the meet's over. He beats me again. He has another year of eligibility. I'm done. I go up to him. I said, Tom, I'm done, but I'm not done. I want to come down. I want to move in. I want to train with you. He was shocked. Shocked. Like, what? He knew who I was. We're high-level competitors, Division I competitors, fighting for championships year after year. He goes, yeah, man, dude, you're great. I mean, I love what you do. I love your attitude. I love your... Move down to Florida. Live with Tom. Train with an unbelievable, multiple-time Olympian in the javelin throw. But now I got nothing going on. I got no money. I got no real plan, so what am I going to do? I got to figure some things out. I got to make some calls. Now, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like nowadays, it's easy. You can reach out, you can text. I still think you got to make calls. I picked up the phone, and I called the new hire of the Florida Gators football team, Coach Steve Spurrier. His first year, Heisman Trophy winner for Florida Gators. I pick up the phone, I cold call Steve Spurrier. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. What do I say? You got to leverage what you got. What do I say to him? I said, Coach, this is Bill Parisi. First of all, he goes, how'd you get me on the phone? Had to work through a secretary. Trainer to Phil Simms. Now I got his attention. So you got to find a hook. You got to find something, and it's got to be short. It's got to be like 3 seconds. You got to think about what can you say to get that person to go like this.
Controller.
Right? Now I got his attention. Coach, I've been training Phil, competed in Finland, got a lot going on. I want to come down there, and I would love to be a GA for your football team and, help out and hopefully, be able to be part of that university. He goes, well, I'll tell you, I can't help you. I just hired a new strength coach, Doug Kaufman. You got to give him a call. Coach, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. I will do that. What do I do?
I don't think that.
Call Coach Coughlin. Hey, Coach Coughlin, Coach Spurrier told me to give you a call. Do I have his attention? I have his attention. You have to craft every word you say. When you go into important conversations, you got to prep. You got to role play. Most people don't do that. If you walk out of here and just take one thing from me, just one thing, and just start to really think about what you say to people in crucial conversations and actually role play, because we hide behind our phones now and social media. I have nothing about social media right now. That's not my thing, right? I'm a face-to-face guy. So that approach, that semester in the fall, I didn't get anything. But I went down there. I helped out wherever I could. It wasn't official. Spring semester, I was the head strength coach for the track and field team with 3 Olympians. Unbelievable opportunity. Unbelievable opportunity. Building your network, you got to be clear and honest on what you want and what you can offer. You can't be afraid. You got to be clear on what you want. Just like we did that vertical jump test. We did our hand raising test. You need clarity, man. You need clarity to figure out what you want so you can go and tell people in a way that can not only help you, but just as importantly, help them. I felt and I believed I had something that I can help that university. I had some cutting edge training. I had experience. I was motivated. So you have to really believe that you can make an impact. So transparency. So network, right? My acronym, net worth. Education, get passionate, become obsessed, be transparent, be clear on what you want. Huge, right? I move home after spending a year in Florida, working for the Gators, right? Doing my thing. I said, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna start a business. I'm living in my parents' basement. I buy a $500 van, right? I put flyers together. I do a free talk. I put together a program. I'm exploiting my niche in the industry. I have this niche as a performance coach. I'm leveraging my experiences and my clients. I believe in the laws of reciprocity, driving around in this $500 van, doing free clinics and free seminars. And I'm trying to get as much free PR as I can. I put together a free clinic. I make 10,000 flyers. I mail them out. I spend about $5,000 in 1991. 1991, I'm spending $5,000 because now the stamp is like 13 cents times 10,000, that's like 1,300. I got, printing 10,000 flyers. They were, like another, 20 cents, 30 cents. I got $5,000 invested to send out 10,000 flyers for a free clinic that I want people to come to. I start cold calling coaches. I get one person to come to this clinic. I got a pretty good resume. I'm a 2-time Division I All-American track athlete. I'm trainer to Phil Simms. I'm a trainer at the University of Florida, training 3 Olympians. I come back to Northern New Jersey. I get one person who goes, they're like, you can't improve speed. No one's teaching speed. And to be a good javelin thrower, especially at 5'10", I had to learn how to run down the runway really fast, with a 7-foot spear and stop myself. So I needed speed, I needed strength, flexibility, power, all that stuff. I had a pretty good resume and a lot of good experience. I had one person show up. This guy I cold called, and his answer was no. No, not interested. But in my mind, that no meant not yet. That's what I heard. But I also heard not just not yet, I also heard new opportunity. New opportunity. You are gonna get no's. You are gonna get beat down. Every opportunity you hear that doesn't work out, you're gonna learn from. I learned from those 10,000 flyers that I sent out that didn't work. That was a colossal failure that most people would think. For me, I knew what I needed to do differently, right? So you can't get down on it. So I continue. What do I got to do, right? I got a great relationship with Phil. I'm training Phil now more on a regular basis because I'm back home. We develop a good relationship. And there's this store in Bergen County called Bergen Home Fitness. And they sell high-end fitness equipment. Average price is like $1,000. This is in the early 90s. It's 92 now. $1,000, $1,500 for a treadmill, elliptical, right? Bergen Home, specialty fitness store. I go into that store and I want to put my business cards on the counter. I say to the owner, anybody that comes here and buys a piece of equipment or $1,000 or more for their home, I want you to give them my card, and I want to give them a free session on how to use that equipment and give them a free workout program. They're like, why should I do that? And I said, it's a good question. So what if I got Phil Simms to do a free radio commercial for you? He looked at me, gave me a double take. What? Yeah, I said, what if I get Phil Simms to do a radio commercial for you? It's like, dude, you do that, you get anything you want. Great, I'll be back. I'm just training Phil, right? But I knew my circumstances. I had a pretty good EQ at a young age. And Chris knows I'm not afraid to ask. I was 20, at that point, 22, 23 years old, living in my parents' basement, trying to build a business. I knew Phil was an incredible guy, generous guy, and I knew how to position the ask. I said, Phil, I'm trying to build a business. I'm still living at home, trying to get off the ground. I have this insane opportunity. If you were to help me out this one time and just do this one commercial, we'll only run it for a couple months. I mean, it could be life-changing for me. And I never forget, he was stretching on the ground when I was asking him. He was like stretching out. And he looked up at me like, did this kid just ask me to do a free radio commercial? Right? He goes, yeah. He goes, I'll do it. I was like, you will? He said yes. I was so excited. I called the guy at Bergen Home Fitness. Okay, we got to set the date. Now it's getting close to camp. And we're supposed to do it. It canceled. Something came up. And now I got like one day left. Then they go to camp and then it's over, for the season. Once they're in season, lights out. Like, it's not happening. So I go down to Giant Stadium and I know, where he parks. I couldn't get in the stadium because they were closed. I know where he parks. I put a note on his windshield. Hey, Phil, remember you promised me you would do this. I'm hoping we can do it. He calls me up that night. Be ready tomorrow. I'll do the commercial. So you can't be afraid to ask. You can't be afraid to ask. So important. So now I started to get some clients. I'm starting, build the business, right? I get this one athlete. His name is TJ Fay. I start training him over the summer, probably about, 3 months. We blow it up. He goes from 4.6 to 4.4 in his 40. First week of the season, he has a couple hundred yards rushing. He gets this huge week. We give out this award in Northern New Jersey. It's called Athlete of the Week. He gets the Athlete of the Week award. It's written up in the paper. The writer mentions my name in the paper about training this kid. Mentions the name. It was awesome. I was like, wow, this guy was really nice. I send them a fruit basket as a thank you. Common sense. You know what I found, though? Common sense isn't too common. Like above and beyond fruit basket as a thank you. It was a big deal for me Wasn't a big deal for him. He was just doing his job. He gets my number, calls me up, and he goes, no one has ever even thanked me before, never mind sending me a fruit basket. We get to know each other. I'm building rapport on that phone call. Now I'm making friends with a top newspaper, high school sports reporter. The Parisi brand is now starting to grow because we develop a nice rapport. We connect. I think I take him to lunch or something, get to know him a little bit. About 6 months later, he calls me up. My editor wants to do a full feature, front page feature on the cover, 500,000 distribution. These are newspapers. Back in the old days, people actually got a newspaper, which is more powerful than being online because it's in their house for a couple days and it's there sitting on the coffee table. Full page feature on personal training. Now, I got the gig going from Bergen Home Fitness, remember? My cards were there. I had 3 other trainers working for me. I was working out of my parents' basement. I was doing 100 sessions a week with 3 full-time trainers in homes. I didn't even have a facility. In their home. Here's the article that came out. I blew up. And what's crazy, he goes, but I have to have other trainers in the article. I'm like, great, I got them. And he didn't even know I did tell him, they were my trainers. They were my trainers. So, did I expect all this from a fruit basket? No. But did it just turn out where, wow, things really developed? And it got to a point where we developed such a good relationship. He wound up getting divorced from his first wife and then moved in the house I bought and became a tenant of mine, the sports writer. That's how close we became. So you got to learn how to leverage free PR. So now, a facility comes available. This is 1993. There's this facility in Wyckoff, New Jersey. The owners went out of business, padlocks on the door. We were in a recession. The first Iraqi war just ended. And health clubs more were closing than were opening. There was a recession, economically and in the fitness industry. It was a downturn. So this club was out of business. The landlord wanted $5,000 a month for this space. A lot of money. Back then it was a lot of money, and right now it's a lot of money. $5,000 a month, 2,500 square feet, because it's in a high-income town on a main road. I said, I can't do that. I'm negotiating, right? I got to think of a win-win. So I go to a parent of one of my athletes. I say, can you help me here? He goes, I got an idea. Here's what we're going to do. He wants $5,000 a month. You're going to give him $2,500 a month for the first year. The second year, you're going to give him $3,500 a month. The fourth year, you're going to give him $6,000 a month. And the fifth year, you're going to give him $6,500 a month. So do you think he'll go for that? You say that's all you can do. He's got nothing going on in the space. I went back, I made the offer, $2,500 a month for the first year, $35,000, did the deal, he took the deal. You always got to think win-win. How can I make it work for that guy? How can I become part of him? How can I understand his perspective? That's the W. Always think win-win. How can you help somebody else? Now, what's crazy, this was 1993, October 1993, and Tom Plummer will attest to this, because I brought Tom in 1995. I went to my first Tom Plummer seminar. And by 1997, we did $987,000 in 2,500 square feet in 1997. That was our first location. And that location is still thriving today, still doing $900 to $1 million for 34 years. 34 years. I don't know anybody else in the industry that has that kind of track record. I don't own it. I sold it to one of my trainers. I'm still actively involved. But it's been a long opportunity. Now, just to go down the path a little bit, what happened after 1997? I go down the street, 1 mile down the street, to build a bigger club. But how do I do that? I don't do that without a tight-knit staff, without building a staff. And we're going to go over that a little bit here at the end of my talk. Without engaging families, and without really building a true member community. And we know the power of that now. We know what member community is about and how powerful that is. I was doing that in 95, 96, 97. That's one of the things we've got at Parisi. We really understand how to build community. So the next year, I go 1 mile down the road, I open up a 15,000 square foot health club. My first mini club only had a 3-lane, 20-yard track. This has a 4-lane, 40-yard track. So it's about 5,000 square foot of performance or so, 4,000 square, and another 12,000 square foot of adult fitness. And within 2 years, we do $2.2 million, 1 mile down the road in Midland Park, New Jersey. Then, from there, 2 years later, I go and find this place. Right here. An old, dilapidated warehouse. Look at that place. This is 2000, the year 2000. I walk into this. 25 years ago, I walk into this place. A $2.5 million project to build 30,000 square feet of performance in the year 2000. 2.5 million. You gotta be optimistic. You gotta have optimism. It's contagious. These are the bankers that I borrowed $2 million from. This was in the corporate book that they give out, the investor prospectus they give out for the bank. I was in it. It's a local bank. I was one of their biggest customers. I took a $2 million loan out in the year 2000 to build this place. Why did I do it? Why did people believe in me? Why did I get a $2 million loan? Well, I had a couple businesses that were doing well. My net worth wasn't anything it was the business. And we know this business, cash flow can change quickly. 2008, cash flow changed quickly. The economic meltdown, right? When you got a business where your break even is $500,000 a month, you got a bad month, you got challenges, right? That's where I was at. But I believed in it, I was excited, I was optimistic, and the bankers bought in. So you gotta bring energy to the table, right? Now these guys are talking about me, talking about the success. And then that turns into this. The evolution. Now, what's interesting about this facility is 25 years old. For the last 25 years, this sports performance facility has averaged $1 million a year in youth performance training revenue every year for 25 straight years. Every year for 25 straight years. There's years we've done $1.3 million, $1.4 million. There's years we've done 700, 800,000. We never did below 700,000 since the beginning. But we've averaged, so this facility generated $25 million over 25 years. I just got done closing a deal 2 months ago, because in 2015, I sold this business, because I was in the game for, a long time, 20 years. When you grind for 20 years owning and operating at the level I was owning and operating, and you try to do an affiliate model like we're doing, you can't do everything great, right? That's one thing I'm gonna talk about here. You can't spread yourself too thin. So I had to make some moves, because I'm gonna share in a second some of the setbacks I had and some of the challenges so you learn from them. I had a lot on my plate. So I ran this thing hard for 15 years. I was running my business from 91 to 2015, so I wound up selling it. And the new owner bought it. He ran it hard for 10 years. And just now I helped close it. It just got bought by a huge orthopedic company, but owned by one guy who's an amazing guy that's putting $2 million now into this place. It's under major construction again. So really exciting opportunity. So what do I mean? What happened? So in the 2000s, we were cranking in the 2000s. We pioneered NFL combine training. We trained over 150 guys from 2000 to 2013 that got drafted, first rounders, 150 that got drafted. We started selling affiliates. We were cranking. Things were just exploding. I was on a 20-year run. 20-year run from 91 to 2011, 2012. And I tell you what, I got a little cocky. I just thought, we got it. We can do anything. I got this, we got this. And I fell behind a little bit. I wasn't on top, maybe, of my game as well as I should. You can never stop your discovery of learning. And that's where I kind of reset. Right around 2015, there was a couple of years there, I had to reset. The biggest challenge of success sometimes is success itself. Let me say that again. The biggest challenge of success is sometimes success itself. And when you become successful, if you don't continue to attack and discover and learn, man, you're gonna fall behind. Now, I was lucky enough I have 2 boys, right? And like I said to myself, hey man, I don't wanna let these guys down. I gotta make sure I'm dialed into them. So my older son, he wants to play basketball. He starts to play competitive basketball. So he makes this high-level team, and I was intrigued. Try to guess who's my son on that picture.
Listen.
Right? He makes this high-level EYBL team. And it's pretty high-level basketball. It's a Nike-sponsored, team. They pay for everything. We're flying around the country. It's pretty cool. And it was a huge breakthrough for me in terms of the next phase of my career and networking and the opportunity I have to almost reinvent myself. Because when I started in 91, 92, no one was doing an active dynamic warm-up. We put out educational DVDs on that. No one knew what really, speed and agility training was. I couldn't even get somebody to come to my free clinic, and I had a resume that was unbelievable because they didn't believe speed could be improved. There was no internet. I truly had to really drive messaging out there with live clinics day after day, out of a van, going to high schools, giving free events just to build up the local market. It was labor intensive. So I go here and I go to these basketball games and I'm like, wow, these kids are different. I see kids running up and down the court, dunking the basketball at 14 years old, 15 years old. I've never seen an assembly of athleticism like I saw in these convention centers of 30 basketball courts, 30. And every court had 10 athletes that probably can get Division I scholarships in football it's just by putting their name in the hat. And then I had a breakthrough. I looked at these kids, I looked at the way they were running and jumping and exploding on the court, and I said, none of these kids are carrying a lot of muscle tissue. There's something else driving their athleticism. So that's where the next chapter started for me. The next chapter of understanding fascia and connective tissue. Now that's my other talk. I'll give you a couple quick nuggets on that. But I took that, and really now I feel I'm back to where I was back in 92, 93, talking about active dynamic warm-up, acceleration, max velocity. Now understanding fascia, connective tissue, understanding dynamic systems theory, understanding how the body is a dynamic, biotensegrity model, right? That is comprised of compression and tension. So there's now a whole new universe to understanding athleticism. And I did a deep dive. And one of the things I did to understand this kind of self-organization that the body goes through if we stress it the right way, if we bring unpredictable stress, is my visit to Oracle, Arizona. When I went to Arizona, before I went there, I reached out and throughout the early 2000s, 2010s, I connected with a number of, I feel, top people in the field. How many people know Stuart McGill? I got to know Stuart McGill a little bit back during this time. Long story short, Stuart McGill stays at my house when he's in town now. I developed such a strong rapport. He's been at my facility. I know his research fairly well. And I put together an interesting kind of training protocol, if you will, that encompasses a lot of different top researchers and their science. Stuart McGill being one of them, Dan Path, who's coached over 20 Olympians, Ken Clark, who's done tons of research. These guys that I look at as mentors and also kind of partners in a lot of ways. Michelle Delcourt, Tom Myers. I work closely with all these guys. Unfortunately, Tom Finley, we lost Tom to cancer a couple of years ago. I got to know Tom really well. He invited me to be on the board of directors of the Fascia Research Society, which are the top researchers in the world from Germany and Italy that gather every 3 years at the Fascia Research Congress. I was on the board of directors for 3 years. So now my connections in the world of fascia research with the top researchers is pretty deep. I've written 2 books on the subject. And I did that all through networking. I have close relationships with all these guys. I brought my sons to go train with Dan Path for 3 days in Texas. Stuart McGill has worked with my sons for weeks at a time, Zoom calls, what have you. I share that because I developed the network. I do ongoing webinars with Tom Myers. But why am I able to do that? Because I'm bringing a value to them. How can you create value? If you want to align yourself with someone, you got to think, how do you create value for them? What can you do to help them? Like, that's huge. And I know it's like, yeah, of course. But a lot of people don't do it. They don't think that way. If you can think, really think, how can I bring value and approach that person with that value proposition, you're gonna build some rapport. You're gonna develop a relationship. So, you gotta be prepared to offer something of value. So, rapport. Help enough people get what they want, and you're eventually gonna get what you want. So you gotta constantly build rapport, right? So a nice little neat acronym here as we go through this, and I really think it's important. Now, before I said you gotta keep it simple, right? So, again, I went to Oracle, Arizona, and I'm gonna keep it simple. Check out this video that I made.
I'm here at the Biosphere 2 project in Oracle, Arizona. This project is a 3-acre greenhouse that was started in 1987 and opened in 1991 to perform a 2-year experiment to study different ecosystems. We're going to tie back how the human body can learn from this experiment. This place got started in 1987 and took 4 years to build. This is literally 3 acres of a greenhouse. This place has an ocean, a forest, a desert, marsh. It has everything you would imagine in outdoors, in our environment. What's interesting, and one of the reasons what drew me here was the concept of what happened when they grew trees in this Biosphere project. Once they reached a certain height, some of the trees would tip over because they didn't develop enough stress wood and the root systems underneath the ground. And that's because there was no wind when they built this place. Now, as you can see, they actually pumped in some artificial wind. It's amazing when we think about nature and what nature does with providing different stresses to create resiliency. And that maps us back to fascia. That unpredictable stress creates incredible strength and resiliency for the trees. The lesson is, the body is more like a plant and not like a machine. We need unpredictable stressors on our body to build resiliency. That is the key to training and developing the fascia system. In Biosphere 2, walking from an area that is considered desert to
So I've done a massive deep dive into this to the point where in the last month alone, or a couple of months alone, I've lectured to UConn men's and women's basketball, University of Tennessee, all sports, University of Oregon, all sports. I'm heading next week to lecture to all the NHL coaches at their league meetings in Orlando. Did a big talk for the NFL strength coaches on connective tissue and fascia. I didn't know much about fascia, 7, 8 years ago. I'm just doing everything I'm telling you to do. And I'm not that bright. I got 900 on my SATs. I'm not that bright. I just friggin' attack. Like, you attack something. Like, fascia is pretty interesting. Now I'm unpacking this big time. Dynamic systems theory, proprioception, biotensegrity, like all these terms, mechanical transduction, fibroblast cells, what happens, proteoglycans, glycosaminoglycans, hyaluronic acid. Like, let's go, baby. Like, I'm not a chemist, I got a finance degree. Right? So what I'm saying is, you want to grow your network, man, like, get good at something. Like, not just good, like, get great at something. So a lot of people, Bill's been around 30 years, he's doing the active warm-up, he's doing this. No, man, we're unpacking some really cutting edge stuff that is game changing. Like, to a degree, like, I have a son that wasn't fast. Now he's playing Division I football at University of Delaware, and he's like the third fastest receiver on the team as a sophomore based on his GPS numbers. Like, because I developed this fascia system. And it's game changing. And that's a whole nother talk. I do a 6-hour talk on that. And that's what I'm bringing to the universities, and that's what I'm giving out. But what I'm saying is, and that's just a piece of it, like that concept. The body's like plastic. So we need unpredictable stressors on our body. Unpredictable. That's why we use a lot of tidal tanks, a lot of water, a lot of different things. We use vipers, we use a lot of different tools to develop this collagen network in our system. So Robert Schleip did an ultrasound on Thomas Roller's right pec. Thomas Roller won the gold medal in the javelin in 2016. Robert Schleip is one of the top scientists on fascia in the world. He's a German scientist, and the Germans are way ahead than us. And when he did an ultrasound on his right pec, he's a right-handed thrower, he identified a 4 millimeter thick aponeurosis going across his right pec. He did the ultrasound on the left pec, a 0.5 millimeter aponeurosis. A collagen network, a fascia sling was created in that world-class javelin thrower that looks something like this underneath the skin. It's not just muscle, and it's not just neurology driving that athlete. We can develop this collagen network if you train a certain way. And I will say, most injuries in the weight room and in sport are to the collagenous tissue, and that's backed by research. A meta-analysis by Jan Winke. The collagenous network is what breaks down more than muscle. The collagen, the epimyosin, the perimyosin, the cell sac, the endomyosin. That cell is in a water balloon. And then you got a couple thousand cells in another bigger water balloon known as the epimyosin, or known as the perimyosin. Then you got the entire hamstring and the epimyosin. That stuff is not just sticking together from a gliding standpoint. It doesn't have enough strength and integrity and mobility. So there's ways to address that, not just from a myofascial release, but from a training perspective. And it's highly neurological. Has 8 times more the proprioceptors in muscle. The fascia system is the largest sensory organ in the body, larger than the skin. So again, find something that you're passionate about that you can do a deep dive. For me, it was speed, and it still is speed. Kind of took that category. Now I've taken fascia to a deep level. And when you do that, you keep it simple, you make it easy, and your network is gonna grow. And when you do that really well, now more than ever, here's what I can tell you to do. Write a book about it. Write a book. I've written 5 books. Success Patterns is about 13 years old, and it's this story. It's basically this story in a book. Wrote a book on raising kids, and I've been blessed with that. I've got 2 great sons. The first book on fascia, the Anatomy of Speed book, and this book that came out on fascia. So another way to grow your network. You know what? How I look at those books? You write a book, and now with AI, to help you do that, man, it's not that hard. That book is your brochure. When you go to an expensive car dealership or you go to a car, they hand you these brochures. It's like really unbelievable. They have these like really 4-color brochures. It's probably like $10 to print. You gotta put something like that together. Like that book, that thing that you put together, man, that's a lot more powerful than a business card. So I'm gonna give somebody, so did you take your book?
I gotta get mine, yeah.
Oh yeah, so this is a powerful business card, right?
Indeed.
You read that, there's a lot of good information in there. So your book is your business card, right? You want to grow your network, you start handing out books to coaches. That's powerful. That's part of being part of the Parisi network. You hand out books We give books out for cost to our coaches, right? Just get them for 20 bucks, whatever it is, and they go out, build a rapport with a coach. Hey, man, we got 30 years experience, trained 1 million athletes. You know, we've done this and this. Right away, you get credibility, one edge up. That's why we developed an affiliate program, you know, to grow our family of coaches in our network. So, but write a book. Write a book. It's going to help you. You got to nail your elevator pitch. It's got to be 30 seconds, like I said before. Like, you got to have this down. You don't know who you're going to run into. Who wants to hear my elevator pitch?
Wait.
All right. We doing good here? I know it's the last session. I'm hoping we're getting a lot out of this, right? And I'm trying to like tie my stories into lessons. And you remember stories, right? If I just came up here and just gave you lessons, you're not gonna, but if I tell you stories, you're gonna remember them. You're gonna remember the story. That's the goal of telling stories. So, 30-second elevator pitch. Hi, my name's John Smith. I'm a coach at the Parisi Speed School. We help athletes build their confidence by enhancing their competency, by improving their speed and athleticism. And what we do also, we help our athletes develop a sense of belonging, because our facility is like that locker room. They're part of a family. They have a sense of being a part of a team, a mission, a movement. So what we do with kids, we improve their confidence by improving their competency, their speed and athleticism, and we enhance their sense of belonging, being a part of the Parisi family. And with that, we improve their self-worth, their feeling about themselves. Do you know anybody that could benefit from our program? That's my elevator pitch. Like, that's locked down. And that's what we coach our coaches. Like, what parent, what uncle, what aunt, what friends wouldn't say, wow, what was that again? Like, I gotta look into that. Short, tight, concise. I got that person saying, I wanna learn more. That's powerful stuff, because the biggest epidemic in our society is low self-esteem with kids. And that is our product. We're a vaccine for low self-esteem. Now I tell my coaches, you know what I tell my coaches in my network? You gotta imagine you're working for the, a big, huge nonprofit foundation like the Bill Gates Foundation or the Warren Buffett Foundation, $50 billion, and you're making calls to villages in Africa to set up vaccine, tents to help save lives. That's what we're doing. We have a low self-esteem vaccine. That's what we deliver. We deliver a vaccine to avoid low self-esteem. And we do it by enhancing physical competencies and by creating an environment, a sense of belonging, a locker room, a camaraderie. And they're equally as important. Because, by the way, most kids that play sports, from youth sports to high school sports to college sports, are not happy with playing time. They're not happy after the game. How many kids go through a season, go through a game, everything was great, I had my best game ever. Most of the time, it's not good. If you're like successful more than 50% of the time, even if the team won, maybe you didn't do as good, it's a challenge. Sports are a challenge. Nowadays, to play college sports, man, like everybody's thinking about the high-level guys, the top 2%. Everybody thinks that's what sports are. No, sports are really challenging for most of the kids that play it. That's why 75% of kids drop out of sports by high school. 40 million kids play youth sports. About 8 million play high school sports. Do the math. 32 million drop out by high school. 32 million drop out of sports by high school. That's what we address. That's our market. That 40 million, selling that parent that dream. We're gonna give your kid an opportunity to succeed. So be clear about that. So define your market. I don't know how many people here do youth athletic training? Raise your hand if you do youth athletic training. So, yep, and we got Ron here. I'm gonna say a few words in a second because I know I got 12 minutes, right? 12 minutes. So you gotta get your elevator pitch down. Gotta get that elevator pitch down. Guys, Emmitt Smith, 18,000 yards rushing, right? 18,000 yards, all-time leading rusher in the NFL. What I'm saying isn't easy. You're gonna get knocked down. Emmitt Smith got knocked down a lot. Actually, he got knocked down 4,000 times over a 10-mile run, but he got back up more than anybody else. The point is, guys, in this industry, in life, you're gonna get knocked down. Why is he the all-time rushing leader? He just got up more than anybody else. He got up more than anybody else. So as you go through your career, as you go and you think about your vision, you think about your why, you think about what's important to you, you know, you're gonna have these obstacles. It's gonna be a challenge. It's not gonna be easy. You're gonna get the door slammed. People are gonna not be happy, you know, about something that you do. But it's how you respond. It's how you respond. Remember, your business is the golden goose. You know, I'm married, I got 2 kids, but the business is a priority. You know, it has to be. It's what feeds us. You know, and sometimes, man, we take our foot off the gas. I took my foot off the gas a little bit in 2012, 2013. You know, and yeah, we got jammed up a little bit. I learned valuable lessons from it. Man, you own and operate a business and you're responsible for your income, you gotta keep your foot on the gas, man, all the time. You can't let up, not in this environment, not in this, hey, we live in a capitalistic environment, right? It's capitalism. Anybody can go out. There's no more non-competes allowed out there. You gotta go, and you gotta go hard. And how do you do that, man? You gotta build discipleship. You gotta build discipleship. I got 4 guys in that photo that have been with me for 20 years. 4 guys in that photo that have been with me for 20 years. And one guy's right here, right there, Chad Coy, a strong man. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't build discipleship because I have any, you know, because I'm special, I got special powers, or I just got, no, I'm gonna give you the way how to do it right now. I'm gonna give you the secret to this right now. How many people wanna know what the secret is? I'm gonna give it to you. It's really simple. It's all put in a nice, simple book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. How many people heard this book? Raise your hand. Good. Got about maybe 20% of the people. When's the last time you read the book? Got to read it again, right? And you got to practice it, because we know the number one challenge in life is the absence of trust. How many people here are honest people? Raise your hand if you're honest, right? All right, put your hands down. When's the last time you told a lie? Honesty is not easy. You got to work on honesty all the time. And the biggest issue in organizations and in relationships is the absence of trust. You always have to be working on building trust. Now, here's the challenge. Trust is hard. Trust is uncomfortable. Meaning, I should say, honesty sometimes is uncomfortable when you have to be honest with someone. Someone's not pulling their weight. They work for you. They're a friend. You developed a close relationship. They're making a lot of money. They're not pulling their weight. Well, how did you get into that predicament, right? Well, you didn't probably have clear expectations on the job description. You probably didn't do a good formal review every 6 months where they assess themselves and then you assess them on paper, and then you come together in a meeting and you look at the papers together, like really honing that down. These are things we do in our program. These are tools we provide in our system. But the foundation is building that trust, and the absence of trust is the issue. When you have an absence of trust, people fear conflict. Chad and I got into it the other day, just talking about our business and talking about leads and what's going on. We're not afraid to get after it, have a really hard conversation. And when you don't have a foundation of trust, those tough conversations don't happen. You gotta have tough conversations. It's like the analogy I use all the time are coaches in the film room discussing game plans. And they're yelling at each other. No, we should throw the ball more. No, we should run more. No, this guy should start. This guy should not start. They're not afraid in the coach's office to get after it and yell at each other and try to figure out the best game plan. Are you doing that in your organization? Are you doing that to challenge one another to get to the best outcome? We don't do that. I mean, sometimes we want to be nice. Well, sometimes the business, it's not always nice. right? Be respectful, but you gotta not fear conflict. And when you fear conflict and don't have trust, there becomes a lack of commitment. Everybody's like kind of avoiding accountability. And now it just starts to break down. Now people are avoiding accountability and there's inattention to results. I can't recommend the book anymore. Oh, by the way, Patrick Lencioni, right? So URSA, now it's called the Fitness Business, what's it called? URSA's changed their name. Well, the largest fitness trade organization in the world was URSA, right? It's a $20 million company. They have big events every year. I reached out to Patrick Lencioni it was probably about 12 years ago, 13. I got him to be a keynote at URSA. So I got to know Patrick Lencioni. And I built rapport with him. Why? Because I networked. I called up URSA and said, I think we should have Patrick Lencioni. I'll be happy to reach out and set it up. They're like, great. I got Patrick Lencioni a speaking gig at URSA, which he got paid $30,000 for. Anybody could have done that. He didn't know me. I just called on behalf of URSA to make the connection. That's just another example of networking and getting to know people. So this is the reason. It's funny, I put this photo up here because this was the photo I used. It was actually 2009, 16 years ago. And you got to find your motivation, right? Find your motivation early. So those guys were my motivation, and now they're my motivation even more, because now they hold me accountable in a big way, especially with my diet, because they are definitely off the charts. So to kind of wrap up, guys, I'm right on time here. I'm happy to take some questions, but building a network, building trust, growing your influence takes time, like the bamboo tree, Chinese bamboo tree. There was this farmer many years ago decided to go bamboo. His crops were dying. He didn't know why, but he knew bamboo would be better. So he planted these bamboo trees in his farm. He had about 50 acres of farmland. He was planting these trees, watering them, feeding them every week. He was doing everything he can, and after 6 months, there was nothing coming up. He didn't know what to do. He had no other choice, but he would continue to water and feed. Another 6 months went, nothing came up. Now he's getting worried. It's a year. He can't pull back now. He's got no other outlet. He waters, he feeds, he nourishes. Another year goes by, nothing comes up. Now this guy he doesn't have money to feed his family. He's really down and out. Finally, this guy is like on wit's end. He gets drunk one night. He kind of passes out. He kind of sleeps on the park bench. He wakes up, he's walking home, and he sees these little sprouts coming up after 2.5 years. 6 months later, those trees grew 30 feet. The Chinese bamboo tree spends years developing its root system underground. Then all of a sudden, once it has this really strong root system, it sprouts up in just a few months. And if you follow these principles and you make emotional deposits and you become an expert in something and you own that subject and really become knowledgeable and help other people by owning that subject really well, and continue to push that out to the market, you're going to develop a brand. You're going to develop memorable experiences. You do things like I did, like pattern interruptions. You have fun. You have different events. That's really what it's about. So I have a coach here. I want to recognize one of our affiliates, Ron. Ron is one of our Parisi coaches in Chicago. Ron's 70 years old, and he's killing it. Ron, I want you to stand up. We owe you a round of applause. Ron, what makes you successful doing this at your age and being a sole practitioner and doing this for as long as you have? No one has taken more education than this guy. This guy's been to every seminar, every event. He's been in Athletes Performance when it was Athletes Performance. He's been at Exos. He took every course, every program, everywhere. Just in general, what makes you successful at 70 in the trenches, still grinding it and loving it? And he does full-time athletes training. That's what he does.
Passion. If you have a passion for it, there's a really good chance you'll be successful. You're going to hit bumps in the road. but you have a passion for it, and you educate yourself with people you think are really going to help you. Get a mentor, and you take your ego and you throw it away, because most mentors are a lot younger than me, and you learn from them. And world change, Bill says, control time. What I learned, back in the 70s and 80s, with not all this equipment, going through circuits, I had to re-educate myself. That re-education, and the people that I met, this is my 18th or 19th perform better. I come every year because, one, I like to see the people I've met over the years. You're always going to learn something from them, even if you don't go to the lecture, just from talking to them. And the more you can educate yourself and get the passion for what you want to do, you're going to be successful.
Yeah. I'd say thank you, Ron. I really appreciate what Ron has brought to our network as one of affiliates. That's awesome. Thank you, Ron. And I just want him to say a few things, because you can do this for a long time if you have a passion. And he's an example. And he looks great. I mean, he's 70 years old, still grinding it and enjoying every second of it, right? And that's what excites me, the fact that he's part of our program. And I will share with you guys, hey, we've been doing this a long time. We've got a lot of experience to share. If you guys are interested in what we do, check out some of what we're doing. My boy Chad is here. He's going to be in our booth. But we really are here to serve. We're really here to help you. Even if we have a conversation, give you some advice, and we never talk to you again, that's fine. Because that's what I do, right? Just help people out. And I'm not worried about if you're going to get involved with us or buy something. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about, hey, can I help you? Can I give you something that's of value that can help you succeed in business? If I do that, it's great. Good things are going to happen for you, and that's all that really counts. So I'm not, I do it out of the goodness of my heart. So I really hope I'm right on time. Happy to take any questions. We got the socials, so I'll be there. I hope this met the mark. And you guys got some good takeaways out of this talk, and you got, not too much information, but something to make a positive influence in how you take your business to the next level. So thank you very much. I am here. We're going to do a...
Real quick, it's 860, I'm not too certain.
Oh.
860. Me.
Oh.
860.
Yeah. So...
Reach it. I guess.
But guys, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Let's go have a good time at the summit. Thank you, guys.